Hello interwebs, I hope you're all doing well. So I want to have a quick discussion about a tweet that I saw online that was supposedly done by one JK Rowling, but was very clearly faked. So let me read you the tweet, and then I kind of want to have a little discussion about it because it provoked an interesting reaction in myself.
Just want to say, TERFs were the real Dementors all along. Sorry for being such a hateful weirdo. We all make mistakes. Trans rights forever. Also, the goblins were anti-Semitic stereotypes. Sorry for that. Aloha Mora to a new world. Also, Grindelwald was a bottom.
Now, there's a few things that I could discuss with this tweet. The first of which is that when I first saw this tweet, it was not marked as fake. It was just sort of shared as if it was a real tweet, and people were sort of like jokingly aware that it was fake, but it wasn't clearly marked as such. And I should say, please stop doing that. I'm not a big fan of like these fake tweets that you see of folks like Matt Walsh or stuff like that. Like, it is fun to make fun of them. I'm 100% here to make fun of people who cause harm to transphobes. I just dislike this sort of like making a tweet that's like very clearly fake but not really marked as such, and we can go down many different directions with that. I mean, there's a lot of nuance within that, like the ethics of satire and the line of satire and where the line of satire is, or you could go and talk about like a sort of line of thought that goes down to like fake news and deep fakes and things like that, that sort of this touches upon in that area. There's a lot of nuance to that. There's a lot of like gray lines and things like that. It's just one of those things that when it comes to like these tweets, I always sort of am like, oh, is that what really is them? And clearly not. Now, with this tweet in specific, I should say it is very clearly fake. Because, you know, to tweet something like that, for JK Rowling to tweet something like that, it would have required a huge amount of introspection on her part that I don't think she is currently in a place to even be, not even incentivized to be doing, considering how much she has stoked her audience into anti-trans sentiment, nor do I think she is really capable of doing, given, you know, where she is at right now with people surrounding her, people sort of propping her up, the communities that she is involved in. You know, when people fall down radicalization pipelines, like JK Rowling has done in terms of the anti-trans, especially the very insular TERF community, it's very hard to break out of that when you're very deep in those communities, especially when you have a sort of monetary sort of background in it. Like if your sort of platform and your ability to pay your bills is sort of now currently based off of this stuff, which JK Rowling is. And that's a larger discussion surrounding like radicalization, communities of radicalization, and things like that. So I you know, these tweets, for her to tweet something like that would have been like a full like journey for her to go down, that I don't think she's just incentivized to do or even capable of. That being said, I will say there was, you know, when you get a tweet like this, and it takes a second for you sort of emotionally to realize that it is fake, because it does read as fake, and you kind of understand that very quickly. But I did have a moment, like a brief like second, where I did think, oh, this is a real tweet. And I have to be very honest with you, there was a part of me that it actually like meant a lot to hear that. And again, it didn't last long. It was very brief, but I just had this moment where I was like, if only JK Rowling would have tweeted something like that. To sit and acknowledge the pain that she has caused, not only to trans people, but, you know, the denial of, you know, the utilization of certain anti-Semitic tropes and things like that in her work. And for her to realize that, and then to actually want to try to work to fix that. And I just realized, like, it would be so meaningful if she did do that. And it just made me think about this narrative that you see around, like, trans people surrounding, like, figures like JK Rowling. And people yelling, like, you just hate JK Rowling, you just hate women, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And usually they say, you just hate JK Rowling, so you wanted to go after her. And I'm just sitting here being like, no, I don't hate her for who she is, and then just started going after her. I don't even really, like, hate. I'm just angry and upset and hurt by what she's said and done. I don't hate her. But there's the narrative that it's like you hate her, you despise her for what she said. And I'm like, no, if she did something like this, it would honestly be so much, because it would be a start to trying to repair the damage she has done. And honest to God, I would want nothing more than for her to try to earn my forgiveness and the trans community's forgiveness. I don't think she could ever necessarily earn it. She has done a lot of harm, a lot of hurt. There are literally people who have suffered mentally. There might even be people who have suffered very physically, for, indirectly or directly from her work, through state violence, through mental health issues, things like that, because someone they looked up to said horrible things. So I don't know if she could ever fully repay that harm that she has done. And for me personally, and other people may have different sort of lines of forgiveness, but for me personally, to be able to earn someone's forgiveness, you have to sort of do the work to sort of repair the damage that you've done, and then some more, and like show a continued desire to continually do that. So for me, I don't think she could ever earn my forgiveness. The harm has been too much. But that being said, I would desperately wish for her to try. And I don't say that as like a vindictive thing. I say that as as someone who's just like, I would really earnestly love to see her try. I would want desperately to see her try, because that would mean a lot to me. We tend to think very punitively about these things, and I want to be very clear. She should be held responsible for all the harms that she's caused, and she clearly shows no signs of, doing this about turn that I sort of wish her to have. And I do think she needs to be held accountable for that and the continued harm that she is continually doing with her platform and her words. I think what we should be thinking of is we push back against her, hold her accountable, and fight her for the harm that she is causing and the harm that she is stoking and enabling others to do in even more direct ways than she is. But that our goal should be to fight her because of the harm she is doing and hold her accountable for it. But then also try to think of ways to try to be restorative, not for her, but for healing afterwards. Because I think a lot of us react out of pain and wanting to fight back, and we need to be also thinking about what we want to build beyond that. And in a world that we want to build beyond that, it doesn't really include women like JK Rowling. It's because they are causing harm and hurt. But I would like to see her try. I would like to see her try to do that work, to be there. I don't know. I don't really have like a central thought or thesis on this. It's just one of those more just like, I think I would love to see her try to earn our forgiveness, to earn the trans community's forgiveness. And maybe some people would be more quickly to forgiving than her. For me, I don't think she ever could. I don't think she ever could. Too many people have been hurt by her, indirectly and directly, for me to ever be able to forgive her, I think. But God, I would like to see her try. Unfortunately, that looks to be never going to be the case. I don't think that's ever going to be the case. And it's also should be pointed out, too, that I think a lot of people would probably be more willing to forgive her because she is someone that we looked up to. And if someone else, had done the same thing, people would probably be less forgiving of her. I mean, there are people who are already forgiving of her, even though she's doing deep harm, because they like the books that she wrote. So, yeah, it's just one of those things that it's just like, I don't think she could ever earn our forgiveness. I don't think she ever really even tried to earn our forgiveness, and we do need to fight back against her, but just seeing that tweet just gave me a moment of like, I wish you would try, though. I wish you would try. Sadly.